Hey, I'm just saying, the Monday after this episode comes out as my birthday, so if you guys don't, I don't know, at least follow me on Twitter or get me a gift or something, you're kind of being a dick. Hi, my name is Man, and welcome to the second episode of the Yellow Brick Radio podcast, the podcast where I talk about Digimon and whatever else I feel like talking about that week. However, this week it is going to be a lot of Digimon because we got a lot of news in the realm of the Digimon card games, and none of my other guests were returning my phone calls. Come on. Sorry. I was trying to come up with a YouTuber, and I could not think of anyone. Hey, I'm just saying, if anyone makes YouTube videos out there, it doesn't even need to be, Digimon related. If you just want to be on, that would be kind of cool. Okay, so we're just gonna get straight into the Digimon news and stuff because that is gonna be the majority of this week's episode because we got a lot of info. So this past week, on about Thursday of last week, we got Bandai hosted their TCG press conference where they went over info concerning stuff like Battle Spirits and Digimon. I don't care about Battle Spirits. You can't make me care about Battle Spirits. I don't care if they're putting Common Riders in Battle Spirits. I'm not gonna fucking play Battle Spirits. You know who you are. But the big thing is that they showed off the entirety of the Demon Lords deck for the most part, except for maybe Lucemon Satan mode, which we still don't know if we're getting in this set. So we're just gonna go over the Demon Lords that we have not seen yet, and then Odugamon, and then just kind of the general basis of how the decks work. So we already knew about Lilithmon, Lucemon, and Barbamon. We got the rest of the Demon Lords being Creepymon, Beelzemon, Belphemon Rage Mode, and Leviamon. And all of their effects are pretty self-explanatory. Beelzemon is an 11 cost on play. On Digivolve, it mills the top 4 cards of your deck. Then if you have 2 or 10 or more cards in your trash, you de-Digivolve 2 on one of your opponent's Digimon. Is this going to see that much play in the Beelzemon deck? Probably not. Beelzemon has a pretty set play style. However, this is good for getting your Demon Lords in the trash. Then we got a new Creepymon, also similar thing. On play in Digivolve, it deletes one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest level, and then for each level of the deleted Digimon, you trash the top card of your own deck. Next, we got Belphemon Rage Mode, which is green for some reason. On play when Digivolving, you may trash up to 3 cards in your hand. For each card trashed by this effect, you suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, level 5 or lower. Then you delete all of your opponent's Digimon suspended with the lowest play cost. And lastly, Leviamon. All turns once per turn when an opponent's Digimon or one of your Digimon with Demon Lords is played, trash 1 card in your hand, bottom deck 3 of your opponent's sources on one of their Digimon, and then you return one of your opponent's Digimon with less, if they have as many or less tamers and Digimon than you do, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with no sources. And then they all have the same other effect as when they would leave the battle area, other than by battle, you can place a Demon Lord or from your trash at the bottom sources of one of your Gate of Sins in the breeding area. We're going to talk about the Gate of Sins here in just a little bit. I do think it's interesting that they kind of tried to make these work with the rest of their respective decks. However, I don't think any of them are going to see that much play in those decks. So let's just get to the Gate of Sin, and then we can talk a little bit about how the deck works more. So Gate of Sin, it's similar to Yggdrasil in that it's an egg, or the breeding at the start of your main phase. You place the top card of your egg deck at the bottom of its sources and delete all of your Digimon. If this effect deleted, place 1 card with 7 Great Demon Lords from your trash at the bottom of your sources. And then it has another effect where breeding at the end of your opponent's turn. By deleting this Digimon with 7 or more cards with different names in its sources, you can play 1 Odugamon from your trash without paying the cost. And finally, it has an inherited effect of when one of your Digimon with the 7 Great Demon will be played, you may reduce the play cost by 3, but if it has 5 or more cards with different names in its sources, you can reduce it by 4 instead. So this works pretty differently than the Yggdrasil deck. We're just gonna hang on. I'm just gonna readjust the mic a little bit so that maybe you can hear me better. Okay. So one big thing with the Yggdrasil deck is it basically takes every turn absorbing your demon lord, your royal knights, and then slowly reducing the play cost. This one is not the same, however. In fact, for the most part, you're only going to get about 3, 6, and then 9 reduced cost for most of your turn until you can get more demon lords under it, and then it's a full-on 12. So immediately, this is a lot slower than the Demon Lords than the Royal Knights deck. However, it looks like the trade-off is that they have a lot stronger effects, and one thing you might notice really quickly is that all of these are about trashing stuff. You're not necessarily needing your Demon Lords in your hand, you need your Demon Lords in your trash. That's why stuff like Creepymon, Creepymon, Beelzemon, they're all about milling. Belphemon is about discarding. So I've actually had the opportunity to kind of play around with this deck on the Project Draysel sim. And I'm admittedly still kind of figuring out how the deck works out myself, but it's a little bit more, it's a lot slower than Royal Knights, I would say, because Royal Knights has a lot of low-cost stuff you can play early on, and by turn 2, you can reduce your cost by as much as 8. So in this one, is because of how much slower it is, you'll find yourself kind of making some big plays. Now the good news is this deck is very deletion heavy with stuff like the Digivolve and the Beelzemon, or the Creepymon popping and stuff like that. This does have a little bit of synergy with the other older Demon Lord cards, namely stuff like Leviamon, which has it on play. So yeah, it's very much like we thought it was going to be. You're going to be trying to get all of your Demon Lords under your Gate of Sin so that you can play Odugamon. However, kind of the problem with that is that because it has to be different names, that is the biggest distinction. Like with the Royal Knights, you don't even need that many Royal Knights underneath Yggdrasil to use its effect. Like you just need like enough to make Omnimon not pass turn, and then you win. Speaking of the big card itself, let's talk about Odugamon. Now, in the conference, we also got to see Odugamon. It's a secret rare, like we kind of all knew it was going to be. Odugamon can Digivolve from any level 6, purple level 6 for a cost of 7, or Digivolve level 5, or can Digivolve on a level 5 or higher Demon Lord for a cost of 6. When Digivolving and when attacking, so, moving on a little bit from EX6, talking about a lot more of the information we got, and again, going over stuff briefly. So, we got our first look at BT17 and a secret rare, nonetheless. So BT 17, which we know from distributor information, is going to be based around the Digimon movies. Stuff like the original OVA, our war game, the Burst Mode movie, just Last Evolution, and there's going to be a lot of support for a lot of decks spanning a lot of different entries in the franchise. And I am actually 100% more interested in that concept, so we've definitely gotten into a little bit of a trend with Digimon sets, where it's based on specific anime entries in the anime. Stuff like, we get, the BT12 was obviously Young Hunter's theme, BT13 was Savior's theme, and then we got Adventure sets, and then we got a 02 themed set. And now we are getting one based on the anime, but just because it's based on every anime movie, we get just a big variety of types of Digimon. Like, we know Shine Greymon. Oop. Okay, I guess the VTubing software has stopped. Yes, so we are getting a lot of different series representations on there. The big ones that we know are our War Game, Last Evolution, and a new Shine Greymon Burst Mode. Shine Greymon is one of my favorite cards in the game, namely BT2, because that is the deck that I saw maybe the most. I had the most fun with that deck. Like, I have so many memories of playing that deck. Like, release 1.5. I used to have an alt art that I had in my clear phone case. Like, it was just so great, and I'm so sad that I don't have that alt art anymore. So I'm excited for more Shine Greymon support. Even whatever we get that is Shine Greymon related, I get a little excited. But in terms, so there are two specific cards I wanted to mention from BT17 that we got early. Is we got a new Greymon. It is a white Greymon, so I believe that means Greymon is officially the first Digimon to be in every color. So this Greymon is actually based off of the Agumon and Greymon from the Digimon Adventure OVA, which was a prequel to the entire series. It can evolve from any level 3 of any color for a cost of 3, but it can also evolve from Agumon in its name for a cost of 2. When digivolving, if it has Koromon in its sources, it gains 3000 DP for the turn, and then it deletes one Digimon with equal or less DP than itself. And then it has an effect where it has the names of all level 3 or lower Digimon in its evolution cards. And then on deletion, you may play one Tamer with Tai or Kari in its name from your hand without paying the cost, or hatch in your breeding area. So it's very much based on the this VTubing software stopped again. Screw. Yep, VTubing software still isn't going to work, and we're not really going to mess with it right now. So yes, this is based on the it's just I don't think this will actually see play in any deck. It's just kind of a weird, funny little thing that you can use in just like if you like the anime. So one thing that people who play the card game will absolutely make fun of the game for is the fact that we still don't have a Parrotmon card. Like, not even as a common or something. Like, we have never gotten a Parrotmon, and it is the second Digimon that we've ever seen. What is your deal? So, if we are finally getting some representation for the original Digimon Adventure OVA, then we are so desperately hoping that we are finally going to get Parrotmon. I don't even want it to be good, I just want Parrotmon. What's funny is that because of like a lot of people assume Parrotmon is going to be green, we do have the new Digimon Liberators coming out, which we got a lot of info on. That is the main character, Shoto, and his protagonist, Pteramon. They are going to be a green bird deck, so hopefully that means that will be useful in that. And the other big card that we want to talk about is Clock of the End. So it is an option card. And another thing that we know about from distributor information is that Diaboromon was going to get support, and it was going to be the first deck in the game with an alternative win condition. Now, I think if you're familiar with other card games, you know, Exodia, I know Pokemon has a few, it's just a way to win the game without, you know, attacking. Clock of the End, security, it places itself in your hand. It's a 3-cost option, and then its main effect is you play one Diaboromon token without paying its cost, then place this card at the bottom sources of one card of your Diaboromon without Clock of the End in its sources. And we're going to skip over a little bit. It has an inherited effect of when this Digimon would be deleted by... when this Digimon would leave the battle area by an opponent's effect by deleting one of your other Diaboromon, prevent it from leaving. So this is just a scapegoat type effect. Obviously, this covers things like a Chaos Degrade. I don't think this covers DP reduction or but it does go around Digivolve. And then at the end of your opponent's turn, you place one Clock of the End from this Digimon's sources in the battle area. And then it has an effect of start of your turn. If there are 4 clocks of the end placed in your battle area, you win the game. So basically, you want to fill up your board with Diaboromon tokens, and then play 4 clocks at the end, so that you can have 4 in your battle area and win the game. You can't place these under your tokens because tokens can't have sources. And there's a bunch of... We've already gotten some new Diabormon support in EX6, and now we're getting in some in BT17. So basically, you're just going to flood the board to protect your token, to protect your Diabormon stack, so that you can keep playing your clocks to the end and win the game. Now, is this going to be good? Probably not. I mean, because again, this doesn't get around things like DP reduction, and the tokens are only about 3,000 DP, so Golden Rapid Mon X, that kills your board, Crimson Blaze, just stuff like that will absolutely hurt your chances of being able to get all of them into play. Some people have called out about how oh, what if you don't see all 4 of your pieces, or what if one of them is in your security and your opponent just doesn't attack? To that, I feel like, well, we already got a new Caramon that can search it, and that's just the case with every deck. Like, I feel like with Diabormon, it still has plenty of ways to win without needing the clock at the ends. I think this will just be a way to get around stuff like control decks. Like, if your opponent is trying to run around with SetCon, you can hopefully be able to clock at the end and get around them. All right. So BT17 movie set. Give Shine Greymon burst mode, please. I'm so excited for that, and it's gonna be an ace. It's gonna be an ace. So in addition, we also got details about LM3. Fun fact, we don't even have LM1 here in the States yet. It's going to be in BT15. We don't know how we're getting LM2, and we're already getting an LM3. So LM sets are... Bandai is still kind of trying to figure out what they are, but at the moment it looks like it's going to be their replacement for the reprint boosters, which will feature some new cards as well as some... old reprints. Like, we got a lot of reprints in LM2 that we will talk about soon enough. But we also got to look at 12 new cards for LM3. 6 aces and 6 new staples. We got a Agumon and Gabumon Bond aces, Sakuyamon Maid Mode ace, Shivamon ace, Cyberdramon ace, and Megidramon ace. Or is that Megadramon? No, it's Megidramon. So, yes, they're all aces. They all have counter when Digivolving. Agumon can Digi-evolve from your Agumon if you have 2 or fewer security cards for a cost of 2. So this also counts on your opponent's turn, so if you just have an Agumon in play, you'll be able to counter. When Digivolving are on play, it deletes any number of your opponent's Digimon with total DP less than this Digimon. That is an insanely good effect. Like, this isn't, like, game-breaking, but the fact that this thing has 14,000 DP and it can delete total Digimon, that is so good for board clearing. And then it has when attacking, if you have a Tamer or Trash Talk card of your opponent's security stack, that's just good. This could bring back a Agumon deck, but I think this will most likely just end up being something like a maybe a potential top end for Greymon tribal based decks. And then because it's level 7, it actually is overflow 5, so that is a big cost. Gabumon is similar to sources that can evolve from Gabumon Tier 2. Blast Evo, on play when Digivolving, it returns one of your opponent's Digimon with less or fewer sources than this to the bottom of the deck. And then when attacking, once per turn, if you have a Tamer on spin. So this is not really as good compared to the Gabumon from BT6. Like, BT6 Gabumon was one of the top decks at the time. I don't think Melga decks will necessarily need this. The fact that it can bottom deck... The fact that it's just one bottom deck compared to, like, old Gabumons 3 is not that good. Or even Agumons board clear. But it's 2 attacks, which is not as good as Agumon being able to trash the security, so you can potentially get rid of a bomb. So I think this one will be the first we'll not see any play at all, sadly. But if you're a Gabumon fan like me, you'll probably take it out for a test run. Sakuyamon main mode, it can evolve from Sakuyamon for a cost of 1. When Digivolving, you can place 1 yellow Tamer card or one color option card with a cost of 5 or less from your hand at the top of your security stack. See, it's funny that they had to distinguish one color because of stuff like Sunrise Burst. You friggin' yellow hybrid degenerates. I know who you are. I see you. And then I'll turn when you use an option card or when a card is added to your security stock, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 6,000 DP for the turn. So Sakuyamon is a card that is a deck that everyone kind of suspects is going to get support in the near future, mostly because it's looking like all of the advanced decks are going to be based off of Tamers. So, you know, we got Beelzemon, we got Gargomon, and a lot of people think we're either going to get a Gallantmon or a Sakuyamon-based deck. So this could potentially be good in the future. But yeah, no, just a recovery, and then it lets you minus 6k something. I don't think this is a bad card necessarily. It's just Sakuyamon is in that same level of fish that we talked about a little bit ago, where it's just kind of always been in the rogue tier, and it's never really been able to break into the competitive scene. Shivamon Ace. It can evolve from any Pulsemon level 5 for a cost of 3, and on play when Digivolving, if 3 or more security cards, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, and one of your Digimon gets 3k until the end of your opponent's turn, and if you're 3 or less, you return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon to the bottom of the deck. And then while it's suspended, it isn't affected by your opponent's Digimon. So I don't think this is going to see play at all. Pulsemon is sadly not really playable at the moment. It's kind of janky. Maybe BT17 will give us the rest of the Pulsemon line that we need. And this is just not as good for Insectoids as regular Shivamon, because that one can shut down options, and all of the plant stuff is immune to Digimon effects, so options are like its biggest weakness, and Tyrant and stuff gets around that. Or I mean, Shiva gets around that for Tyrant. So unfortunately, this will not see any play, I don't think. Cyberdramon Ace. On play when Digivolving, you reveal the top 5 cards of your deck, and you play one Tamer card with a cost of 4 or less, without paying the cost. Then you return the rest of the top or bottom of your deck. Then if you have a Tamer, you Digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon. And then, this is the first Ace card to have an inherited effect where, when attacking once per turn, do Evo one of your opponent's Digimon. So Justimon fans are definitely going to get a kick out of this. This is basically just Mamemon, but better, because it plays your Tamers. This is also a cyborg that can play any Tamer, so immediately Machine Dramon players are going to hop on this to replace their, not really sure what they'll play, but it will play their Analog Mans. And I don't know how much this good is as a counter effect, but this will allow you to play a Tamer, get some D-Digivolve, D-Evo being kind of one of the strongest removal effects in the game right now, because that can go through almost any form of protection. So yeah, no, this is just good. A generic black level 5 that could actually... Technically, this could see play in any black deck, because it just needs to play Tamers, and I like that. Black has been the only... So, BT14 and BT... 15, we got all of the aces that were level 5s, and they were all supposed to be generic. Metal Greymon, Zudomon, Melga, they were all supposed to be so generic they could fit into really any deck of any color. And Black got skipped out, unfortunately, so now Black finally has their generic level 5 ace that can be used in pretty much any Black toolbox deck. You could probably fit this into something like Dark Knightmon. I think this will see play. And lastly, Magidramon Ace. It is a dual color purple-red. It evolves off of a level 5 with Growlmon on its name for a cost of 3, and then on play when Digivolving, it deletes one of your opponent's Digimon with 11k DP or lower. Combining that with something like your Guilmon X-Lines, this could potentially go up to 12 or 13. And then all turns, when this Digimon would leave the battle area, you play one Guilmon from its sources or from your trash without paying the cost. And if you did play a Guilmon, you place it under that one's sources. It's also treated as Chaos Gallantmon, and then inherited, it adds 5,000 maximum DP to all of your DP-based deletion effects. So there's a weird misconception I'm seeing people say with this card, where that it doesn't trigger overflow. No, if a card is placed under if an ace card is placed under another card in play, it does trigger overflow. So basically, you're not double triggering overflow. What you're doing is you're going somewhere else so that you trigger overflow a different way. Yeah, just adding 5,000 DP, especially if you encounter stuff like Secret Rare, Gallantmon, or even BT12 Gallantmon. These are just a good effect. I kind of think people probably wanted this to be more of a mill-based effect, though, especially people who play Millithlu who eat in the shower, like me. Like, just. But I feel like Gallantmon fans are okay with this. They got more Gallantmon support. And the last sneak peek we got at LM2 are the scramble options. So, all of the scramble option are 2-cost options. And they all have the same effect. It just changes on the color, where one of your Digimon may digivolve into a card in your hand with reduced cost of 3, and each of them are color locked. So Red Scramble only lets your red level 3s evolve into red level 4s, blue into blue, etc., etc. Then it places a card in the battle area, and then it has start of your turn. If your opponent has a Digimon delay, you return 1 card of the same color from your trash to the top of your deck. Then if you don't have a Digimon in play, you can play 1 Digimon with 2,000 DP or less from your trash without paying the cost. So this is just a faster version of stuff like the training. It basically turns your 3-cost Evos into 2-cost, or into 1-cost, I mean. And then it also has a... this is also kind of a... This is a really good card for comebacks, because if you'll notice, it triggers at the end of your opponent's turn. So that means you can take any Digimon of the same color from your trash and put it at the top of your deck, kind of like so you control your next draw. And then you can play a rookie, and then if you have the memory, you can be able to climb up and take the game back. So if you... These cards are going to be huge for the future of the game. They are going to... If you don't have anything in the raising area, you aren't necessarily out. Like, one thing about this game is that it's okay to overextend a little bit if your opponent doesn't have anything in the raising area. This mitigates that a bit, because now your opponent has to think about, well, they do have a scramble option ready, so even if I clear their board, they can still come back. Does this mean stuff like Omnimon Merciful Mode will still see more play? I doubt it. But overall, I am really excited for LM2, and I really hope they give us, like, a reason, like a good way to get it here. We still don't know how we're getting LM2. So yeah, overall, a lot of exciting card reveals from the live stream. Fun fact, every time I have computer problems, a part of me slowly dies. So yeah, we don't have a lot of details on Liberator, sadly. I'm personally excited for it. I'm really hoping that we can use Liberators to get some people more interested in the card game. I really wish this was an anime. Like, as far as we know, this is gonna be Yu-Gi-Oh! But with the Digimon card game, and I really hope they go full-on, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal level stuff. I want them summoning Digimon that have, like, 10,000 DP, or, like, 100,000 DP, or something stupid like that. I'm excited for Liberators, despite the fact that we have next to no knowledge on it. Okay, and that is just about all of the news we got from the press conference, except one really big piece of news. So, if you don't know, this past year or so, it was about summer 2022, I believe, maybe even 23, the Digimon card game came to China. And they did something similar to what we did, where they combined a few sets and sped up their release. Right now, I believe China is on BT14. I don't think they got an EX5 yet. But during the press conference, Bandai announced that by BT20, which is coming out in January of 2025, Japan, America, and China are all going to be on the same release schedule. I don't think they're going to combine sets for China and America. I think they are just going to kind of It's more likely that they are just going to kind of speed up the release process, because right now in Japan, they're going to get the new starter decks. EX7 is going to come out in May, and then they're going to get BT 18, 19, 11, EX8, and then that'll be in November. And then by January of next year, they're going to get B220, and that means we're going to get a lot of stuff in the coming months as well. They're just going to speed up the process. They want everyone on the same page. So what does this mean? So EX6 or EX5 just came out in America, and one big thing about EX5 is that it has Anubismon and the new Melga line. And by about a week after BT15 comes out here in North America, those cards are going to be banned and limited. Or just limited also, I mean. So once we're on the same release schedule, that's not going to be a thing anymore. We're not going to get cards limited about a week after they come out or whatever. Instead, we are going to be on the same release date with the same ban list. This, I am... A lot of people have mixed feelings. That means if we get another deck like Apocalypse that's toxic and overruns the meta, it's going to be the same case worldwide. But that means we're actually going to have the chance to work with cards on the same release schedule. Now, obviously, that doesn't apply to things like promos. Like, we got the 0-2 promos a lot sooner than Japan did, I believe. The Liberator promos I just talked about, they are coming out sooner in America than they are in Japan. But overall, like, everyone is going to be on the same page, which I think overall that is going to be better for the card game. There's going to be a lot less people, like, people buy, let's say you're trying to build Anubis right now before it gets limited. That means the Anubismon prices is a little bit inflated because sellers know that you want to play the deck now. It's not too bad. However, this is going to be better for the game in the long run, but I think this is also going to be really bad depending on how Bandai handles the future of, like, deck building. Like, again, if we get another deck like Apocalypse, we're just going to have to trudge with it for a few months. So this means Bandai really has to crack down on their playtesting to make sure one deck isn't overly annoying in the overall meta. It's going to be fun because we're going to be able to talk to Japanese players at the same time. Like, all of these EX6 cards I'm talking about right now, those cards are going to be 5 months away. These are going to be 1 month away when I talk about them. So this has the potential to be the best thing that happened to the game or the worst thing that happened to the game. But please tell me your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think that being on the same release schedule is going to be good? Is it going to be awful? Are you not looking forward to the next year when we're not going to have time to build any decks because the next set will come out in a few weeks? My name is Maine, and thank you guys for watching.